Hello and welcome to Investigation Check, our regular interview show where I get to talk to the geeky creators that you love, learn about their hobbies, passions, and the untold stories behind our favorite content. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this quest. For tonight's episode, we have streamer, podcaster, and fellow interviewer PlutoCleric, also known as Paige. Hello, Paige. How are you doing this evening?
I am here. I'm awake, sort of. Sounds gross.
It's always troublesome around this hour. Like, how was my day? So, Paige, where can people first and foremost find you? What are you on? Go ahead and give everyone the plugs.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Paige. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet at PlutoCleric. Mostly Threads and Twitch are the main hangouts where I'm at now. I'm running a few different things right now. Right now on Sundays on my Twitch channel, I think at like 9 Central, I'm running a Cyborg actual play called 20th Century Survival, which is just cyberpunk but horror. And they've just reached the horror point in the campaign, so it's going to be fun this week because we had to miss last session. So I'm ready to potentially try to kill one of them again. I've already killed one in episode 2, so they had to recreate a character already. Yeah, besides that, off my channel right now, I am running a podcast of my own called On the Same Page, Lord Up My Friends. Kind of the same vibe as this, but the second half of the podcast, the guests can choose any one topic and just talk about it for the whole second half of the podcast. It doesn't always stay on topic. I have some people where like we have a topic, we just like chatter. But that's like on Mondays at around the same time, 9 p.m. And that goes on Spotify and Amazon and my YouTube channel. And then other people's content. I'm a player in Castleton, the massive like Bridgerton meets Hunger Games game of A Winter's Tale. Part 2 of that's coming back in November. I play Captain Anira Bennett. And then the only thing I'm in currently, I'm in a One Piece game that my friend Javante is running on his Twitch every other Thursday on Eclipse 613, where I play a little martial artist merfolk. And that's just a lot of fun. I told you before, I'm not super far into the anime, but I'm having fun just being a little fish girl who's beating the shit out of people so far.
So I posted your card in the chat, so everyone go ahead and check out all of Paige's things. She's doing a lot of awesome work out there, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, Paige. If you're ready, let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as I do with everyone, let's start at the beginning. What was your first kind of like introduction into geek culture? Was it a book, a TV show, or movie? What kind of like got you started on the geek path?
So this is a thing that's very regrettable now. But like growing up, I couldn't really get into a lot of nerdy stuff because it was like a very traditional family. Like men were supposed to be into sports, women were supposed to be into like beauty and fashion and shit. So like I was forced into playing sports and having to do all that, which I still like sports a little bit now. I can't fully get rid of that. But my first nerdy thing, which is ironic as hell now, is Harry Potter, which I hate. I really hate that so much. So that was like really the only thing I could get into growing up that was like outside the norm. So I read all those books, all those movies. I saw some superhero stuff here and there when I could.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really really dive more into nerdy stuff till college after I moved out and stuff. Then I got super into superhero stuff. Like I didn't read comics, but I would like look up stuff about comics of the characters that I liked in the movies and shows, and just look up the lore of all these characters. Like my favorite character is Bobby Drake from Iceman from X-Men.
Okay.
And I don't love him in the movies because they made him super straight. But like I've done so much lore diving on Bobby Drake. But yeah, so that kind of correlated. I didn't really get into tabletops though per se until around COVID, around 2019.
Okay.
It was like right before COVID started. It was like around October, November that year. I had a lot of free time on my hand, and I kind of heard. I think I heard about it somewhere on YouTube, maybe. Like I was scrolling, and I think I saw something at it. And I ended up on Geek and Sundry, where I saw the one with Terry Crews in it, where they did like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And they had like him as part of the alliance or something like that, or the horde. I don't remember which side he was on, but it was like this massive like 2 group game that ended up in like a battle, and it was like, oh, this is actually like really fucking cool. Like, can I look up more of this? And like, I couldn't really get into Critical Role at first.
Okay.
Like I now I watch Fox Machina, the anime show, so it's helping me want to get back into it when I have time. But like, I found Dimension 20, And that was pretty much it. I dove deep into Dimension 20 and Dropout and all that stuff from there. Ended up joining a Westmart server
Okay.
to like start to learn how to play D&D and get deeper into it. When I joined, it was set up to where like you have a player, there was like RP servers, you would just sign up for games whenever you wanted. And after like a few months, they needed more GMs, so they're like, "Hey, if anyone wants to GM, we'll give you a second character." A few years later, by the time that server ended, I ran 85% of the games in that Westmart server, Joe. Like, I was running stuff for the main storyline that the main GM like wrote. Like, he had his own storyline for like, because he was like, I think Storm King's Thunder mixed with Out of the Abyss were the two modules we were using
Okay.
to like for the story wise. So we had that whole storyline I was helping, but then I made like three different storylines of my own off of different little plot points that came out during the campaign. I was like, well, I'm gonna run games. I got ideas. We're gonna do something completely unrelated. These are like the side quests that you do before you finish the main campaign. We're just gonna do these for like a couple months each. Um, but yeah, I got super into that for a while. And then I got really into actual place like towards the end of that server. I want to say like 21, maybe or late 2020.
Okay.
I was looking for somewhere to like play with like prevent more people that were in the space, and I ended up on 18 Phoenix's
Okay.
Patreon, which also another regrettable thing. But I ended up paying for that and playing games with her for a while, and she opened up her channel for me. So I was able to run run a small little campaign over there on her channel for what did my like feet wet into producing and running stuff.
Right.
And I really enjoyed it. And when the fallout happened with everything that she was involved in, I ended up on the initiative order, which is
Okay.
a community of friends that were like really big and trying to just give up space to people to run games. It was a community server. I think the server's just now ended because we stopped like producing games on there for after a while.
Okay.
But when I joined, they really had a need for content at the time because they were like in a slow spot.
Right.
So I just GM'd like 4 games in a row on the channel, as well as playing in a couple, and that just got me like super involved in there. And like people I met through that is how I got pulled into like the wider D&D community. And
Okay.
now I'm here in a massive 100-person D&D game. I'm running too much content on my own channel of different APs just because I want to play every system that I can see because they're all so interested, and it's easier for me. It's like I'll just run it myself, and then
Oh,
so
that's
I
about
don't
what we've
really get to
gotten.
play a lot. I don't get to play a lot, but it's fine.
No, I don't think anyone really gets to play a lot except for players. If you were a DM, you're a DM all the time.
Yeah, I have like a few home games I get to occasionally play, but it's just like I GM so much more. It's
Yeah.
like I have to relearn my character. That's when I go back to it.
I want to back up a little bit. I want to talk about your kind of like first watching of D&D in an online space. So talking about Dimension 20, what was it about Dimension 20 that I'm just sorry, just checking our connection because it's showing poor on my screen, so I just want to make sure we're good.
You're good.
Talking about Dimension 20, what was it about Dimension 20 that really hooked you and got you like, okay, this is a space I enjoy, I want to be in, and I want to like look into more of?
I think what pulled me in initially, which was good just for like timing of where I was in the space. The first season of Fantasy High, none of the Intrepid heroes have really played D&D before or even much at all.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the early season was kind of like introductory. Like they were kind of walking them through different stuff, explaining how different things work. So like it helped me like gauge how stuff worked a little bit more from like a new player standpoint because I was like I recognize some of this stuff. I haven't really played too much yet, so it's just kind of cool to see how it goes from like this standpoint. But then just like Dropout in general, it's just such a comedy focused show, so it holds my attention a little bit more than like I love Kirk Roll, but it's 4.5 hours of very serious
Yeah.
content, and I have a bad attention span. So the quick humor of Dropout was able to hold me a little bit more, and then on top of that, like Allie Beardsley literally evolved over the point of all the Dropout shows in the same time that I was also going through all that same stuff. Like, so that was very interesting. And I think pin a lot of figuring out like my like trans journey over the last few years
Okay.
because of fucking Dimension 20 and Allie Beardsley. Because I got to see how they transformed through that and like how happy they were, and like you could slowly see that change over the different seasons.
Right.
Um, and then like I just dove really deep into that over COVID because there was nothing else to do for 3 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, then you finally jump into Satine Phoenix's Discord server and you start running games there. Sorry, I'm just backtracking a little bit because I want to kind of learn a little
Yeah.
bit more about each of these steps. I mean, number one, how did you come to even know about Satine? Because I know some people may not know her.
So
Some of the people coming into the space now probably don't know who they are. So just
yeah. So Geek and Sundry had Dungeon Master tips for a while. And I believe it started with Matt,
yeah, I think he did the
but
first
then
like
at
6 episodes.
point when Critical Role started to take off, he turned it over to Satine,
Yeah.
which is how I became aware of her. And I saw that she was running the Patreon. Like you could pay like I think it was like $100 a month to play like a live game. Yeah, I shouldn't have paid. It was too expensive. Um, but like did that. I played that game for at least a year, I want to say. But like towards the end of that year, I think they were trying to open up their Twitch for people, and I got to run my actual play on there with a couple friends, my ex at the time. Um, yeah, and I just got to kind of really run with it. She didn't really give me much oversight. She's like, "Here's the Twitch key. Here you go," and I was just went on there and played. And one of the producers that she had helping me out was who brought me into the initiative order. So it was a fun time. Like the stuff kind of happened quick with her when it all came out.
Yeah.
I was literally supposed to meet her in person that week when
Oh,
everything happened. Like she was in Columbus. Like I was going to meet her. I think it was isn't Origin Fair is the Columbus Con, I think.
I don't even know.
Um, but yeah, I was supposed to meet her that Friday, and then
Yeah.
Wednesday, like everything about her husband dropped, and then about her the next day, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What the?"
Yeah. I mean, that's probably for the best that that meeting never happened.
Yeah, I got very lucky. I
Yeah.
feel like I dodged a big bullet, and then I think the initiative order was just such like a relief.
Yeah.
There was so many more creators in there. There was more creativity in those games. I got a lot more control over what I was running. And I met pretty much all my friend group from now is stemmed in one way or the other from that server. So,
Okay.
yeah.
The AP you started on Satine's channel, that was the first time you had been on camera, or did you play on camera in her game?
That was my first time on camera. The Patreon game was just like a
Okay, just
home
like
game type thing. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Um,
I want to ask real quick, what were you can tell, not answer, but like, what were the numbers that you were pulling in on that first stream? Like, because that must have been pretty intimidating to jump, like that being your first thing. And I mean, presumably, you're pulling in big numbers on those first
I don't
few.
know. I don't know if it was a ton because I don't think her Twitch was super popular.
Okay.
I want to say it was only 20 or 30 people, which isn't bad for
No.
an inactive channel. Um, I remember like the VODs having a lot more views though,
Okay.
which was kind of wild.
Yeah.
Which I think VODs always do a little bit better on Twitch
Yeah.
in general, especially for like smaller channels. But yeah, I don't know. I just never really thought about it. Like I always get like even now I get super nervous whether it's an AP or just like a video game stream or whatever I'm doing before I'm on camera. But like once it's on, I'm like I don't really think about it
Yeah.
too much. Like I'll look at chat and I'll look at tech. I'm also usually running tech for all my stuff, so I'm like I can't really sit there and worry about it because I'm doing a million things behind the screen. But yeah, it just never really bothered me. I didn't really pay too much attention to it like in the moment. Especially because the way I GM is so much on the fly.
Okay.
I'll get a storyline kind of planned out, and I will like world build a little bit just to give them like a sandbox to play in. But
Right.
besides that, once I have their backstories, I just kind of let them lead the story,
Yeah.
and I'll kind of get them there at some point. Like they'll get to that final plot point. I don't know how. We'll see. We'll get there at some point.
There's a road somewhere in this forest.
Yeah, I just know where the map ends. I don't know what path they're gonna cross
Yeah.
it to get there.
Yeah. I feel like me and you are very similar in the way we set up a game. It's like I have a very big overview, and then I will build out the sandbox and then play. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
talk
that
about it
West March.
later.
I think that West March burned me out because that was my first experience in GMN,
Yeah.
and I was so anal retentive about learning everything I could possibly do about running games and setting up stat blocks and all that shit. And I would prep for hours for those games, and I
Oof.
would go into so much detail. I would get a million tokens and music, and I had like stat blocks tiered out for the whole arc
Oh, jeez.
by CR level. Now, if I do, I don't run D&D and Pathfinder a ton
Okay.
because of how crunchy they are. If
Right.
I do, I will grab a stat block that's like, oh, this is about their level, and then I will glance at it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I will just reskin everything on the fly what I need it to actually be. It just gives me an idea. Okay, so those are about this the save I want. That's about how good their skills are.
Yeah. Just
Cool. That's all I need
ballpark
to know.
it.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I'm sorry, I got really bad memory. Initiative Order is the channel you went to next, correct?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was there for channel was active for a few years after I joined. They shut down, I think. I want to say we stopped doing content last year, maybe.
Okay. Was there like
But
a
I
falling?
ran. It was just a lot of pressure on some of the
Yeah.
people on the creative side of our crew, and it was just not. It was not really fun for a lot of them anymore.
Okay.
Some of the people we would let on the channel were just a little demanding, and which is why now just run all my own shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I got to run. I ran a City and Mist campaign.
Hmm.
I ran. Fuck, what else did I run? I played in a Monster Hearts game. I played in a Cyberpunk game. And I want to say I ran at least like two other games. I can't think of what system it was. Oh, I did Dresden Files.
Okay.
It used the Fate system,
Yeah.
but it was specifically mapped around the Dresden File books, and I was really into those books at the time. I still haven't finished them because there's so many. Um, but that game was really fun. I think I even dipped into horror for my first time there, but that was like most of my AP experience was on that channel
Hmm.
for a good like 2 years. Um, I was always in something at least every few months on there, whether I was in a game or playing in a game or whatever. And the last game I was in on there was a Power Rangers game that my friend Art like Court ran.
Hmm.
That when the channel ended, we then moved over to his channel. But that game specifically is how I met Alec the Bard, which
Hmm.
is Alec Lockman now. I don't think he's making content anymore, as well as
Right.
Hamasama Kun and a couple other people who then pulled me in and met and introduced me to more of the people like around the community that we know that we're probably going to hang out with in like a month and a half in Philadelphia. So,
um. Okay. So there's two things, like two questions I have in my head. Let's start with the one where we're already talking about. Do you feel like your experience in Initiative Order kind of like prepared you to just and kind of made you want to just start this channel on your own, or is it? Do you feel like that was
I
always going to
think
happen and it was just a matter of time?
so I had my channel up for a while, but it was mostly just video game stuff that I would do
Uh-huh.
like when I felt like it. I got affiliate on there, and I was running very sporadically. But on Initiative Order, I like especially because I wanted to help out more. Whenever I was in a game, I would run my own tech. I learned how to do the tech, was taught how to do all that.
Hmm.
Towards the end of that, my friend slash sister that I met through the Initiative Order taught me how to do overlays and Photoshop and all that. So like a lot of the stuff now that I have to do on my own channel, I learned because I wanted to help out there and make it easier to just get a game up and put it out.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think that definitely helped me a lot because now I set up overlays for my channel. I run the tech side. I have music accounts. I have like all the extraneous accounts that I have cross platform. It's helped me learn how to produce an AP.
Yeah.
Like there's still some stuff I could probably add when I get a little more extra money to throw into it.
Right.
It's like I have a day job. I don't really rely on it for money. I just do it's more of a hobby for me. I've always said like if I do ever make more money off of this, it'll just be thrown back into the channel and into
Right.
anyone that helps me out because like I don't need it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's helped me like definitely craft how like I want my APs to look, like how I want it all set up, what safety tools I want to implement, like all those little things that you don't know when you're like, oh, I'm gonna run a game on the internet for people. It's
What
definitely
could
helped me
possibly
like
go wrong?
yeah, there's not that much to that, right? It's just you show up on camera and you play a game. No, it's not. It's a
No.
totally different vibe than a home game. A
Oh,
home
yeah.
game, is so much more relaxed.
Oh
Is
yeah,
because you're not being watched. You don't have to worry about like all these little things going on in the background.
terms of
Um,
service.
yeah, there's a lot more overhead that you don't think about until you actually start running these games, and I think that really helped me prepare for that.
Okay. I kind of want to shift a little bit here because you've talked about some people,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to ask questions that number one you're not comfortable answering or don't want to answer.
Yeah.
But there has been some conversations lately about gatekeeping in the community, especially in the AP space. What is like? You've been in this space now for quite a while. I mean,
Hmm.
what is your experience with that? How is that? Have you seen that happening?
It's definitely seen it happening. I think I've talked about this with a few people, and I think a lot of the issue is that a lot of us were not very popular growing up in this space. I know, shocker, wow, a bunch of nerds
Oh,
playing
what a
tabletop
guest.
games, really not popular in high school and middle school and such. And I think now that we're in this space, it's very social. A lot of people do want to do this full time
Mhm.
and are trying into spots. And like instead of trying to just kind of run it, if we all do good, then the space is going to get bigger
Right.
and more successful. But there's some people in the space that just want to be Matt Mercer, be Brandon Lee Mulligan, be a Bria, and just like want to be competitive about it. And I think that's what causes any potential like discourse in the community more than
Mhm.
anything else. And then even then, a lot of the issues that do pop up, I feel like if people just talked, which I think we are very social people because of the stuff that we play, but I don't think people know how to communicate the best with each other.
We were all socially awkward. At what point did we think we suddenly became
It's
fucking social?
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like all people like form opinions, or they hear stuff from people they trust, or like all this kind of stuff. And like if people just talk to each other, the majority of the issues would probably not be a thing. Like, sure, there's bad stuff that happened in the space. Like, we've had like Sating Phoenix, we've had Gabe Hits recently. Like,
Yeah.
there is people that come out that are just like really, they've done really fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of like the major drama or like the minor dramas that happen more frequently are usually just because of communication more
Yeah.
than anything else.
It's and I again I feel like I'm pretty new to the space.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of this, but people always talk about it and I'm like, I
That's what it
don't get
usually
it.
is. Like you hear about it more than you see it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very common. Like you hear it from someone, from a friend or anything, because at the end of the day, this community is very tight knit.
Right.
I always say like I feel like I know more of the creators than I have actual people that follow my content still, because I focus more on long form stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the big creators have those big small platforms like TikTok and
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts and stuff. I could never really honestly get into that. I do it more for fun. I think I've posted more stuff on my TikTok recently for my transition than actual nerdy content. um, but yeah, with all that, I just think it's just so much word of mouth stuff
Yeah.
and just so much opinion based stuff that like if you would actually go to the people and talk about it, like there would not. It's not a big deal at the end of the day. This is a hobby
Yeah.
that we do to tell stories and have fun with people. Like that should be it. Like it shouldn't be drama or anything like that at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's strange to me when I hear it because I'm like, I don't. What are we fighting about here? This is such a weird thing to fight about.
Yeah, it's always really dumb to hear about a lot of the stuff. I'm like, I'm just so tired. I just want to play games.
Yeah.
This is why I like only go on certain channels. I'm like, I'm just gonna run my own stuff where I
Yeah.
can control it and not have to worry about any of that drama for the most part.
All right. So let's switch off that. Get back into happy stuff. How and when you started your own channel and you say you run how many games on that channel now?
Currently one. Um, because I've switched how I do my channel a little bit because I was
Okay.
doing too much at once.
No way.
I have a one shot coming up in November and another game starting in December, which I'm not sure if that's gonna be live or pre-recorded yet. Um, but for the most part, for a while, I was running 2 or 3 games simultaneously on my channel.
Oof.
I was running the Power Rangers game at the same time I was running Daggerheart as well as a Monster of the Week game all at once until very recently. Um, and then I was like, okay, this is a lot.
Yeah. All right, when you
So
say,
I've
let me cut you off real quick. When you say run, are you DMing or just like producing?
GMing, teching, producing, all
Yeah.
of it.
Okay. All the hats. Got it.
Yeah, I always say like I am on a quest to run every game in the known universe because of the whole branding and stuff, and it's honestly because I have a list of systems that I want to run, and it's so much easier for me to just run it myself than ever get a chance to play in them.
Right.
Because most of the people just play like a handful of systems primarily. Like, yeah, they'll be like, oh, these indie games are so cool, but then the people are still running the same like 4 to 5 systems on streams for the
Yeah.
most part. I did it. I had to like I was playing like a game offline with some people the other day, and we did like a question was like, oh, what's a fun fact about yourself? So I was like, I'm gonna go back and like look at all these games I ran. I've ran over like 28 different systems in the 5 years I've been playing tabletops that I've
Holy
GM'd.
shit.
And I am not even halfway through my list of games I want to run because there's still so many systems that I just want to. I don't have enough time. I have World of Darkness coming up, which I'm combining all 3 systems into one shot. Um,
How?
we did an offline prologue where they were hunters,
Okay.
and then when they come back together, half of them are going to be vampires and half of them are going to be werewolves. I don't know how I'm going to mess together combat-wise, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll figure that out.
I'll be able to treat it like Elden Ring, where like enemies scale to you. So like
Okay.
the enemy might hit the werewolf and do more damage because the werewolves can take it, and then do less to the vampires. Is how I think I'm going to have to do it.
Okay.
I haven't really thought that too far ahead. Well, I got a month. I'll be fine. But I'm also running Candela Obscura, and the
How are
group I
you-
have for that
How are you enjoying
is
that
gonna be
system?
great. I've been daily diving into it.
Yeah.
I've been running a lot of horror stuff lately in general for some reason. I don't know if it's the time of year or just because I feel like horror games are so good because creating that tension, like you can have the little silly moments, interactions, but it like makes everyone lock in a little bit more.
Yeah. It's good for
And
the
it
EP
gets
space,
a
I would
little,
say.
yeah, it gets a little more realer.
Yeah.
And when people get invested, it can come out really good. And Candela Obscura, like I love how much mystery it is. It's like a more investigative version of Vossen, if you've ever played Vossen before.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't played a lot of systems, so
Yeah, Vossen is like a similar, it uses the same base system, I think, but it's
okay.
it's like English and like Irish like folklore,
Okay.
like monsters and creatures within that. And it's both games are very much Cthulhu like, where they have, yeah, you might run into stuff. You don't necessarily want to fight them because they will murder you. Like you're not equipped. This is not D&D. You're not a hero to be able to fight these things.
You're a normal person in a fucked up world.
Yeah, I love running those games. Like and you know when you run those games and you get people who aren't used to those type of systems because they'll try to fight it. I ran I ran Call of Cthulhu for Halloween last year, a one shot with my friends Cassie from Chosen One's D&D, Forrest, who was on here I think the last episode of this, as well as Diana. They tried to fight the big Cthulhu like pumpkin monster at the end.
That probably went really
Two
well.
of them died. I think Diana failed 5 sanity rolls over the course of the game. Was fully insane by the end of it and fighting Forrest, and then Forrest and her got eaten, and the other one ran away half blind. So it went well for them. But very great.
Typical Cthulhu ending.
Yeah, but yeah, Candela Obscura looks so good. I love that in the lore of it. It's like, oh yeah, it's everything that would be like during this time frame in your real world. Just minus the homophobia and the transphobia and all this fucked up shit. It's like all the fucked up shit's out. It's in this setting, but it's like this. I think it's like Industrial Revolution-ish.
Which year does it take place?
I want to say it's like the early 1800s.
Okay, yeah, that would be Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, so it gives you the point of reference for like how you want to set everything up. And I already have the base mission set up, but I'm waiting for VR Session 0 in a couple weeks because I'm going to be like, okay, I need all your backstories, as much detail as you want. I need 2 NPCs specifically for no reason whatsoever. And then I'm going to try to tie it into, because it's very case based. And then like there's like a final thing. So I'm going to try to make it where each case is tied into one of their backstories and then try to tie it all together for the finale.
Nice.
And I'm planning so much for that right now. Like I say I don't plan a lot of logistical stuff anymore.
Right.
But my framework for like world building and for like planning that initial plot is so detailed because that's my favorite part of GMing is world building.
Yeah.
I have like I want to say 6 documents for world building ideas right now for different game systems.
Yeesh.
Some for my show, one for a start playing game, and I just created my or not created, but just got my start playing account set up today.
Yeah.
So I have a whole West March planned for that because like I don't want to run a Dungeons and Different Tables. I'm just going to run the same game, and people can join a Discord, and I'll run it West March style because that's what I did for the first year and a half of GM it anyway. It's a lot easier to manage. But yeah, I'm like, I always get to like ideas and I'm like, I want to run this. What system could I run this in? How could I map this idea out to build a world? What would the Pantheon look like? And I just go.
Yeah.
And that's like my favorite part of the game is like get one idea and then just watch it kind of spiral out from there. And it's just it's so rewarding.
Mm-hmm. So you've played all these different types of systems. You said 28, right? Do you have a system that you found most closely resembles the kind of games you like to play or run?
I tend to default to Powered by Apocalypse games.
Okay.
Just because of the ease of just throwing a game together.
Yeah.
It's a 2D set system. You have like a couple stats that give you like a -1 to a +2 or 3 typically. And it gives you like a base for like there's one if you want to do a superhero game, there's one if you want to do a horror game, there's like a general one, there's a post-apocalyptic one. It's such an easy thing to map out. And I just love narrative games. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I like combat, and I want to have combat in some way in my game, whether that's social or physical combat. But I just want to tell a story. Like that's why I got into this. I like telling stories to people at the end of the day. And when I can get a bunch of group together and get them so invested in their backstory, so invested in the story they're telling together, that's more like if I can just sit back and watch them go for a good 30 minutes and I don't have to interact, I'm like, this is great. I love this.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah, like I don't want to have to talk a ton. Like, let me set the scene and you guys just go. That's what I'm here for. It's so great. It's so rewarding. I just want to watch all my cool creative friends tell a story for me.
Dance puppets.
Yeah, this is my favorite show. Just go, guys. You got this.
What of those systems have you played that you felt was like the least conducive to your style of storytelling?
I haven't run it a ton. So I need to give it another chance before I completely commit to this. But I want to say Pathfinder.
Okay. Just because
Pathfinder stretch, yeah, for the crunchiness of like for new players, for like new people, it's a lot more overhead. Because D&D I think is familiar enough that people can jump in, and especially with 5e, it's a lot easier.
Oh yeah, that's very user friendly.
Now, Pathfinder is very crunchy, and it can be overwhelming for people. I personally, as a player, love it because and my favorite thing about being a player more than playing is character creation. Like what's it called? When Dragon Age Eldar comes out in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do my first stream of that just in the character creator. Like
this is 3 hours, folks. Just strap the fuck in.
Yeah, we gotta look at all 90 hair designs that they finally added to these fucking games. I'm tired of the Dragon Age Inquisition had like 8 hair models. Yeah, so yeah, like Pathfinder is very good for that. Like there's so many customizations that you can mix and match. And the first time I did to play a one shot of that, I was like, this is amazing. I can literally build anything I want. I made like a little snow goblin and chose all ice spells and gave them a tattoo gun randomly. I don't know why I did that. But they were just this little crazy ice switch that did tattoos. It was great. I got to kill a dragon with her. But yeah, that game's definitely not. I don't feel Pathfinder is as friendly to people that don't love the crunchy combat side of it. Like it can be, but it takes so much setup.
Right.
That I think it scares off a lot of people.
Yeah. Out of the systems that you have like that out there that you want to get into, is there one that's really like pulling you right now that you haven't tried yet?
Let me bring out my list. There's a lot out there. Like I'm really excited for Candela, but let me look at the other ones that I have in here because there's so many. And I probably haven't even updated this thing. I need to probably update it soon. Oh no, actually I know what I wanna. I bought a very specific thing at Gen Con and am planning my first campaign that's gonna be on my channel that's gonna be like the One Piece campaign where there's not an end.
Right.
It'll just be like seasons and art. So I can bring guests in, I can just keep going with it. Because I've been wanting a game like that for a while. I bought the Marvel Multiverse game and the X-Men expansion.
Okay.
And I told you, I'm a very big X-Men person.
Okay.
So I've already been creating my own Marvel universe that's like mixed in the comics and the MCU. I have fan casted actors for every major character I could think of that they might interact with right away. I know exactly what X-Men they're going to interact with, who's in the Brotherhood, because I'm using X-Men Evolution as a base from like the
Oh,
old
come
cartoon. That
on.
was my
Give me
favorite.
Southern Goth Rogue every fucking
Yep.
time,
So
please.
I got my Brotherhood ready. I got the teenagers. We're gonna be starting this in high school. It's gonna be so great. But
That
I play
sounds
tested the
fucking
Marvel
awesome.
system when it first came out, and it was really janky because it
Yeah.
was the numbers were insane.
Okay.
And I've played it a few times since then, and they balanced it out. But I'm really excited to like actually get my hands on it in a campaign setting,
Yeah.
and see how much it's changed over the course of the playtest because this is the final product now. So I'm
Right.
kind of excited to see how the different power levels interact with each other, how because I think they're all rank 3. I want to see how they can compete with those higher ranks or lower ranks and kind of
Yeah.
get that feel. And because it is a crunchier system,
Okay.
but I don't think I think it's in between D&D and Pathfinder. It makes it pretty easy to
Okay.
follow along with the character creation. And once you have your character, it's more freeform.
Okay.
So
So it's a lot up
my
front,
superhero
but it kind
nerd
of
in me
eases out.
is very happy to dive into it. And they have so many heroes pre-built and villains pre-built from Marvel and X-Men.
Okay.
So I'm already thinking of friends to be like, hey, you want to come on and play this hero or villain for an episode? No particular reason. I already have my friend Art playing an OC that I've created whose
Yeah.
power is just bad luck.
Oh, God. The
Like
opposite of Domino.
they just always have really bad luck. And we've already think of ways how you can actually use that effectively. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is gonna be so good. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. I'm really excited to just jump back into my superhero stuff.
Nice. Is there someone that I don't want to ask this? Is there someone in the space that you haven't had a chance to work with it? Because I know you've worked with so many people, you've met a lot of people, and you know you've made a bunch of these connections. I'm going to keep calling you the old hat in this game. It's just because you've been in it for so long. Is there anyone that you want to work with, even if you've known them, you've had the conversations, but you haven't really had a chance to stand and play with?
I mean, honestly, I think most people I would wonder for the bigger names in the space that I haven't met yet, because I haven't met like the dropout people, the critical role people, all those big ones. Those would be ideal. Like the
Yeah.
chance that's another crop shoot. Actual creators that I know that I haven't ran stuff with though. That's so tough because there's so many people. I did tell AJ from Winter's Tale, the one from Castleton, that I want to run something for her. Like when
Okay.
Castleton dies down, I really want to get her on my channel because I've seen her as a player in other games she's been in, and our whole conversation on the podcast, because I recorded my episode of her already, which you guys will see in a few weeks. We talked about role building like the whole time and character stuff, and like she's the kind of player that I would love to have at my table because I feel like their backstory is me so involved, and I just really want to get them at a table.
She's fucking managing over 100 people. I would imagine
exactly.
her backstory.
I want to
see.
I want to be her GM. Like I gotta switch this around and see how I can tell a story for her. Because like, fuck, I could not do 100 people. That's insane. I can't. I'm trying to track my little pirate group in the campaign, let alone everybody else. I don't know half the drama going on in Castleton because there's just so many people.
Yeah, I truly don't understand how she would keep track of all that in a way that makes sense. Like I'm going to talk to her. That's the conversation I plan on having with her is like the logistics of that sort of thing. But I'm very interested to see how she manages that whole thing.
I think AJ is probably just a little bit insane in the best way,
right.
And I love her for it. Yeah. I don't know how she'd do it. I honestly could not ever think I could do that.
So AJ's your choice?
I think AJ would be my choice. I think AJ would be my choice to run a game for.
Any system in particular, or just like whatever you can get her in?
I don't know. Because I don't really know what I'm running after Chainella yet. There's so many.
Fair enough.
I'm trying not to plan too far ahead, because once I get the idea, I will have another role building document open, and I don't need that right now.
The hyperfixation kicks in.
Yeah. Yeah, I am so bad at that. I thought of something like to do for the holidays this year for like my friends, because like family stuff's not a thing for me right now anymore. And I was like, oh, this idea will be cool. I'm gonna do this. Like I picked like 30 friends. I'm gonna do this with 30 friends. I finished it in like less than a day. I did it all day at work. I could not stop. So I don't need another role build doc right now. I have to start playing server set up and get everything else set up for that. I don't have time for another project.
I'm tapped.
Yeah, I know where I am at good. I need to just focus on the stuff that I have, go into pats and hanging out for everyone, and then I'll reset after the holidays.
Is there anything you have planned for the end of the year at this point? Like now that we're kind of wrapping up to the end of the year, do you have any things set up that you can talk about?
The X-Men game will be starting. I don't know if I get set date, but I was telling them end of the year, so sometime either November or December.
Oh wow, okay.
So I don't know exactly what date that'll be because that game's gonna be like either monthly or bi-monthly since it's gonna be a recurring game. We're not gonna play as often.
Gotcha.
Besides that, Candela, I'm on. Oh, we have our session 0 on November 6th. And I don't know whether, because I was going to have the Roll Darkness campaign was going to be longer, but it's only a one-shot now because of scheduling. So I'm like, I'm going to present the option to them whether they want to do it live or pre-recorded.
Okay.
So if it's live, it'll start in December after Pat sometime. If it's pre-recorded, we'll start recording it in December and air it in like February or March.
Okay.
And then I have a couple God Killer stuff in mind. I have a God Killer game with my friend Isabel that we're planning, where we each have our own God Killer and our own God, and we're going to trade off.
Okay.
And both the gods and the God Killers are twins, and there's going to be a lot of like interconnection Easter eggs throughout. So we sat down to do that, and our session 0 turned into like a 6-hour plot planning session.
Oh Jesus.
And we dumped a lot of our trauma into that game already. So we're like, yeah, we're gonna take a break before we actually start it when we're ready. But yeah, I also want to bring back, I had an idea last year that I didn't get a chance to do for God Killer specifically. Because it's like a one-on-one game. God Killer is trying to kill this god for whatever reason, and whatever the result is, it changes the world around them.
Okay.
I want to do an anthology series of that, where after someone does their one shot,
Right.
I move into the future a certain amount of years, and the next God Killer gets to interact with the world the last God Killer left behind.
Okay. Okay.
So I can do these one shots and play with all my creator friends one on one, and get to like dump these little Easter eggs along that I've done from each of these different games. I think that'd be really fun thing to do. It'd be pretty low pressure because God Killer is an easy game to run. It's not a lot of prep I need to do. And I don't have to have a set day. It's like, hey, when are you free? Cool, we're gonna go play for 4 or 5 hours of this game and just go from there. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to drag you on for an episode. We'll tell us.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
We'll get you in there.
Do you have like a set start for that or no? Or is that just something that you have in the pipe?
So I just had the idea for the one shot version of it. I reached out to 2 friends already. So I need to get session 0's playing with them soon. I'm thinking after Pat's, because I probably shouldn't start any new projects before Pat's at this
Probably
point.
a bad idea.
As much as I want to, but
I saw we're 50 days out. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, October filled up pretty quickly.
Time.
I need to like give myself some time to breathe in November, and I do have a friend coming for that Thanksgiving week, so like there's not a lot of time between that and Pat's. So it's like 3 weeks in November. I shouldn't jam pack all of that.
Probably not.
Otherwise, I'm gonna get that. You're gonna see me in Philly at one of the parties, just sleeping in the corner.
Just in a corner.
Just like it's house. Yeah, so I sometime in probably 2025.
Yeah,
we'll say.
So, out of all the projects you've done, has there been any of them that have been like particularly meaningful for you that have like really left an impact on you that you've had a really either emotional or enlightening experience on?
Oh, they've all been good, and I've had so many good people. I'm gonna say one just for a personal funny reason.
Mm-hmm.
So my longest friend Gus, he's not really in the space, but he's on my channel a lot for AP, because I'll drag him on this stuff. We met in that Westmarch server. His character was like the first character to interact with my character and change how I was going to RP them. Like, had a big impact on that character, and we kind of played them all the way through like, level 20 together. And I even invited him to my wedding with my ex. So we're really close. And my thing as a GM is, if I have you in a longer series, I want to make you cry.
Right.
Not for any sadistic reasons. I want you to be invested enough in your character that you emotionally react to
Yeah.
me and to the story that's going on. I didn't make him cry, but in the sci-fi game I did, he played one of the android races I made, which if they had a thing like reincarnation thing where that they wanted to start over, they wiped their memory banks.
Okay.
And would be kind of how like the Etso in Destiny is.
Right.
And he did that. I was like, okay, cool. Do you want to write your backstory? What happened before all that? He's like, no, go ahead and do whatever. I was like, cool.
Jesus.
When I revealed what his previous incarnation did,
Yeah.
he didn't cry, but I fully blue screened him. He could not. He was visibly like shocked and confused and was like stuttering. I was like, finally, fucking got him. It's like my biggest achievement. He's such a stoic person on the RP side. So I was like, I finally got him so bad. I was so happy about it.
That's awesome. Is there, again, you've been doing this for a while now. Has there been any like challenges that you've kind of had to face in this content creation journey, or any walls that you've come against that you either were able to kind of eventually get over, or that have stood there and kind of taunted you from afar at this point?
I don't think there's been really any major hurdles because, like, again, I'm not really relying on this. It's more for fun and to meet people in the community and have more friends in the space more than it is because I need numbers or anything like that. Which is why I never really focused on like TikTok or anything.
Right.
But I think just managing all the aspects, like slowly having to like learn how the community kind of interacts with each other. Because there is a level of parasocial relationships in the space. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, you are friends with a lot of people, but they're also kind of like co-workers or colleagues in a way. And then also just like taking over everything for my channel and just like slowly mapping out how I want it to look. Like I've got some friends helping me out with art now for some character art. Intro videos. I have some people drawing maps for me, and like I'm slowly getting like it mapped out to look a little cleaner.
Okay.
So like I think just developing that how I want everything to look overall. Like I still need to sit down. I want to get a schedule at some point because I want to add the video game streams back.
Yeah.
But they're always so sporadic. So I'm like, I don't know when I want to stream, and I also have to manage to start playing stuff now, and all my home games. So I think the biggest thing is time.
Yeah.
I need a schedule. I have a schedule like desktop thing now, so I can see it when I'm at my desk, and I've linked it to my phone, and I'm trying to be more.
Please send me that.
Yeah,
link.
it's an app. It's an app. I'll send it to you after. I download it. It's like a Windows app. You can download it to your desktop, and it's like translucent, so it's just on your back. So I always try to add to that. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
it never ends either. So you say you don't do social media stuff a lot. Do you kind of like maintain a relationship with your audience, and like you listen to, is there like a back and forth with them, or is it kind of like you just put out the content, whoever wants to enjoy it by all means, but you don't, there's kind of a distance in that relationship?
I think my audience is pretty silent, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I've gotten more viewers on like, 'cause my Instagram's my biggest at like, I want to say 1,300 or something. And I feel like more of my viewers and followers in there recently have come in from my transition stuff as opposed to my content. Because I post way more about that lately than anything else.
Major life event.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure all that out at the moment. Like that was August of last year, so it's already been over a year. That's wild. But yeah, I think I'm definitely seeing the VOD views because my VODs are doing like 60 to 80 views a video on Twitch. So I'm like, I know people aren't enjoying the content, but they don't want, a lot of them watch it live.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because the time I run, or like, I think I run a lot during when other bigger creators are on too. So it doesn't help totally because there's only so many channels you can watch. Like right now on my sidebar, I see like 12 friends running content now. So
yeah, Thursday afternoon, the worst day for D&D content.
Oh yeah, especially in like the next when does that go live? 9 minutes? Is that critical? 9 minutes?
I think so.
Where I'm at now. Yeah. So yeah, I totally don't really get a ton of people in when it's live,
Yeah.
but I definitely see the numbers after. So like I'm like, okay, cool, it's fine. Like I get like anywhere between 10 and 20 viewers, and it's kind of sporadic based on like where we're at in the episodes and stuff.
Uh,
But yeah, I haven't really had any negative stuff come in. So I mean, I see what I'm doing is resonating with enough people apparently. So I just want to keep telling these fun stories with my friends, honestly.
yeah. So you talked a lot about the systems you want to play, the systems you have played. Is there any, putting aside like system specific, is there any
Yeah.
like franchise or characters
Oh,
that have had an influence on your work or that you want to play in that world? Obviously, besides the Marvel universe, because we've already had that discussion. But is there anything like besides that that you want to kind of dive into?
so I've talked a lot about Powered by Apocalypse, and I might have made my own Powered by Apocalypse homebrew game that I can't release because it's, you know, it's licensed content. I have a Dragon Ball Z game prepped. And me and my friends were like, oh, we want to play Dragon Ball Z together. And then we started to do it. And then I was like, I'll work on the system stuff a little bit by myself, guys, and we'll see when it's done. I finished it that night.
Jesus.
I found one that was already made, took the parts I liked from it, because a lot of it was confusing, and then just skinned it over a mask. And I want to run it on my channel.
I mean, as long as you turn off ads, it's fine, right? That's the way that works.
Yeah, I want to run it. So I've dived really into Dragon Ball Z. I got the new Dragon Ball Z game.
Yeah.
And that's been my life now. That's gonna be my life until Velgar comes out. So, like, I would love to run that. I would love to run a Dragon Ball Z game because that over-the-top anime.
Yeah.
I mean, anything running that as a game so much. Like the One Piece game, I mean, is so much fun. It's so over the top.
Right.
It's so anime.
And if you get the right players too that really lean into the over the top, that would be.
Yeah, one of our players already has their One Piece laugh together, like their big belly laugh. I'm describing like wild ass anime tactics when I fight. My character's a merfolk, so I swim faster than our ship, so I'm always swimming the navigator. That's how I'm the navigator. I swim ahead of us, so I know where we're going, and I can just anime flip back on the ship without making any rolls, because I'm an anime character. Why would I need to roll acrobatics for that? Like,
obviously I do it.
Wild. So I just want to run. I think it's fun to run a content that's like the physics of that world are so fucked to like you can't fully put it into a system. It has to be fully narrative. But yeah, I mapped out a whole system for Super Saiyan and for the Frieza race transformations and Namekians. What other races? I have an android race. I have a Majin race.
Oh God.
I feel like I have like one or two other ones. I did that all in like 8 hours. Went to bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning that night. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
God. So what a part of like doing all these different things and being a part of this space and making these things and doing all this stuff, what do you find the most rewarding about that? Like what makes you want to constantly keep diving into this pool?
I think it's really just storytelling.
Yeah.
Like I very briefly thought about being an author in high school. Like I didn't tell anyone about it because my grammar is bad. Like I would have to do a lot of learning on that end of it. And that's the main reason I did it was because of that. I wasn't really good at I'm not really good at mapping out dialogue, like writing dialogue down to make it sound legit.
Right.
It's probably not the autism or anything, but
I don't know why.
I just love storytelling so much. Like I love coming up with an idea, sitting with a group of people, and just like fully fleshing out a story around that. And just like feeling how a world gets built, like the stuff. Like I'm making my own system right now, which it could probably be released now. Like the mechanics are fully done. I just want to do a lot more with the world building before I even let anyone see it. But it was all from just like one idea, and I've mapped out a whole pantheon around it. I've mapped out like different species and how the system works and all this stuff, all off of like one line. I was like, what if there was a world that did this? And then just ran with it, honestly. And I just love to sit with my friends and no matter what system it is or what game it is or whatever we're doing and just tell a story more than anything else. It's just so much fun to me. It gives me such an endorphin rush.
So kind of riffing off that, what advice would you give to aspiring content creators that are trying to make their mark in this space?
I think more than anything, you just need to enjoy what you're doing. If you're just putting out content to put out content, or if you're just trying to hit numbers or focus on numbers, it's not gonna work. When I was trying to do TikToks, I was so focused on that stuff, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't really like it at all.
Yeah.
I don't make TikToks now very spontaneously. I met most of the people in the community and most people that I've started making connections with after I just got to the point. I was like, I just want to I'm just going to run what I want to run and just do it
Yeah.
and talk to people that I think mesh well. And that's worked out. I think the more you worry about logistical stuff, of like, how can I do this? How can I run this? It's not going to really work out. You need to just find something that you like to do, whether that's short form or AP or whatever you think you want to focus on. As long as you're having fun doing that, then I think you'll find at least some modicum of success, whatever that looks like for you.
Right. It's. I mean, I feel like we've talked pretty much every point that I wanted to talk about. I'm looking at all my questions here, and I think we've kind of hit everything here. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you my final question, the one I ask every content creator, and I'm going to pause this.
I forgot about this.
I'm going to pause the ads here.
You telling me beforehand didn't help because I forgot about the question until you just said that.
What kind of message or impact do you, as a creator, hope to leave through your content in the geek space?
So I think more than anything, especially with like the changes I've gone through from the start of my content to now, is to just, as cliche as it is, just be yourself more than anything else. Like I think if you go back and see some of my early content and just see the look in my eyes then to my look in my eyes now, I'm so much happier now with everything that's happened. And I think if more than anything else, you just have to embrace that, whatever that is, whether that's like a personal identity thing, whether it's something to do with your content, something to do in your real life. Like you need to just embrace what you care about,
right? And
what's important to you more than anything else. Like you need to prioritize your own happiness. It's
amazing. And I think that's a great point to kind of end our interview page. This has been amazing. We are going to open up for any questions that you guys, the audience, might have. Anything you would love to ask Paige, put them in the chat, and we're going to get to those. But for now, while those questions come in, we're going to switch over to our Dicey Questions segment. This is where we ask 20 random questions by die roll. Paige, could you go ahead and roll a dice for me?
Sure. Pretty mid. I rolled a 9.
A 9. If you could live in any fantasy world, which would you choose?
Oh, I was just thinking about this the other day. Pokemon.
Okay, why?
Because there's no chance of me dying from super overpowered shit. And I get to have a team of Pokemon that I can just hang out with and like love on and stuff. Like that's great. Like
isn't half the Pokedex like this thing will kill you?
Yeah, but I would have my own team to protect me though, Joe.
This isn't the games.
I don't have to fight. I don't have to do anything.
Fainting in real life.
Yeah, I don't have to go up and fight that thing.
I don't know. I've seen Ash get bodied a bunch of times.
That's because Ash is stupid. I love Ash, but he's stupid. He's very dumb. Like, he should have won the championship so long ago, but he keeps dumping his team every time he gets good.
Come on, nerd.
Or doesn't fully evolve his group. I'm like, what are you doing?
All right.
I would love to just be in the Pokemon world. I think specifically...
What's your team?
I just made my team the other day.
I fucking you said Pokemon. I knew you had a fucking team.
So I was like, I want a team that's unique. I'm gonna put up my favorites on it, but I was thinking about it. It's all 2-stage evolutions.
Okay.
So no starter Pokemon. Well,
Gotcha.
I guess Eevee, but if you count Eevee, I don't really count Eevee as a starter Pokemon though.
No.
Let me bring it up. I made a list because of course I did. So Sandslash.
Gotcha.
Would be my starter because Sandslash is my favorite Pokemon, and I decided to go with the original one, not the ice one, the ground type.
I didn't even know there was an ice one.
There's in the Alolan games, they revamped some of the Kanto Pokemon in different types.
Yes, I do.
So the new Sandslash is an ice steel type.
Give me 1 sec. I'm actually going to take a break. So give me. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, everyone.
No, it's good.
You were
time to figure out my other team.
Going through your Pokemon team.
Yeah, so I was telling him I got my 6 that I'm going to name out, but I also saw CC's question on favorite type. Like my favorite type is ice type, so I'll also do a full ice team just for the hell of it. My OG team would be Sandslash, the ground type, Glaceon,
Okay.
Pyroar, which is the fire normal lion from Gen 6,
Yes.
Skuntank, my
Okay.
little fat skunk boy. I love him so much. Noivern, the bat
Nice.
dragon thing.
Nice.
And then my ace would be Lopunny because it does have a mega evolution
Uh
and it gets really fucking strong in its mega evolution.
huh.
Um, Ice type would be Sandslash again, but you know, the ice version of Sandslash.
Uh huh.
Glaceon would stay on the team. I would do Dlelel, I think is how you pronounce it, the giant like orb with the devil horns.
Yes. Okay. It makes a lot.
Because he has a mega evolution.
Yes.
It's really strong. I would do Frostlass.
Yes. Okay.
I would do. Ooh, I think just so I can have some more tankiness on the team, I'd do Abomasnow.
Okay.
Double weakness to fire, but it's fine. And then the new from the newest game, the legendary Chin Pao. It's like the saber-tooth tiger ice type. That would be my ace.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I know that last one.
There's like 4 legendaries on, or not 4 legendaries, there's like 4 like mystical Pokemon in the background on the sword, or not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. And
Okay.
that was one of them.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know if I
like,
played Scarlet and Violet.
yeah, it's the newest one, but yeah, that one is my favorite legendary
Okay.
on that game. It's the most recent.
All right. Give me one more D20 roll, and then we're going to dive into our questions. And again, it's not too late to ask questions for Paige. We're going to get to all the questions that are put in there. So if you have any questions for Paige, go ahead and put them in. All right, what do you got?
I rolled an 8, so just one down to the last roll.
If you were a D&D class, what would you be, and what would your stat build look like?
I don't know, with my name being what it is, Joe, what class do you think I would be?
So cleric.
Yeah,
Which type
definitely
of
cleric. Man. I feel like with how much shit I do, it would have to be knowledge domain.
Okay.
Because I'm very good at
That tracks.
figuring shit out on the go with new stuff. And their whole thing is you can get proficiency randomly and all this stuff. Which is funny because I'm not like super religious at all. But I love pantheons. Like
Yeah.
it's my favorite thing as a GM is building out pantheons. And I love like having characters that have connections to some thing more than themselves.
Right.
Because that whole RP aspect is always so great. There's always so much potential there.
What was your stat build look like?
For me personally, we're doing like standard array.
Sure. Or you just put them in order. Like, what would you be your highest and then lowest?
I'm
You don't
gonna
need to
go
know lowest.
reverse order. Lowest would be. Lowest would be dexterity.
Okay.
I don't think I'm super clumsy, but I definitely think out of the 6 it's the lowest. Next would be con.
Mm-hmm.
I am always I don't sleep much, and I have a lot of health issues. So definitely con would be the next lowest. Then I would say strength, because the strength is slowly getting sapped away by the HRT.
Mm-hmm.
I finally am starting to struggle with jars, and I don't like it. Then I'm gonna say charisma, and then wisdom, then intelligence. So I don't know how I feel about my intelligence being my high stat as a wit cleric, but that's where I'm gonna go with it.
Fuck it. All right. I think that being said, we're gonna dive into our questions here as we get ready to wrap up for the night. So most of our questions are from Cece, also known as Colame on the chat. She
Love
is
CC.
yes, she is a player on the channel, and she has a lot of questions for you.
We'll make sure to bug her about this after.
That tracks. Have you ever played or run anything in the Forge in the Dark system?
No. That's like Blades in the Dark, right? Isn't it one of their...
I think
feel like...
I think it's Blades in the Dark, but
I'm trying to look it up like really quick. I want to say no, that's Evil Habitation. What is Forged in the Dark?
I'm not sure.
I don't even know what that is. What games are in that? So I'm gonna say no. because I don't know. Oh wait, no, I'm on it right now. I have run one Forge in the Dark game. I ran Girls by Moonlight.
Ah, okay.
It's one of their newer games that just came out, so it was Blaze in the Dark system. I do want to run Blaze in the Dark at some point, but yeah, I ran a Girls by Moonlight system. I didn't get to finish that campaign because it was going on during like all the crazy shit that happened in my life last year.
Uh-huh.
But I ran like 3 or 4 sessions of it, and it was literally like Sailor Moon, the system. It was so yeah, I need to get back. I didn't run it again. Uh, Surprisingly, the trans girl likes Sailor Moon for some reason.
Who would have thought?
I don't know why that game resonates with me, but I wanna get back and run a game of that because that's just so much fun. And I had such an anime title for it. It was like Magical Girls, How to Go to College, Beat the Villains, and Make It to Homecoming. It was some like long sentence title. It was so great. It took me so long to come up with it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Cece,
God.
you can play Blaze in the Dark with me in a horror game. We'll play all the games. So what I'm hearing is I need to cast Cece in something that's because they want to play all the games. That's fine.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite
Yes,
character?
I'll play games with Cece.
Yeah.
Wild.
Jeez. They're so
Suppose.
pushy.
God.
Do you have a favorite character that you have played or want to play?
My favorite character that I have played was my second D&D character in the Westmarch, the one I got for jamming. Their name was Drop. They were my most broken character I've ever played. By level 18, which is when I stopped playing them, they were 2 levels of Paladin. And then I forget the spread, but they were Tempest Domain Cleric and Storm Sorcerer.
Nice.
And my legendary item was a Blood Fury tattoo, and I had Heavy Plate +3. My AC was 28.
Jesus.
I could shield up to a
Christ.
33, so I really got hit. And then when I did get hit, my Blood Fury tattoo would heal me when I would do damage with it. And I would just quicken at the first turn of combat. I would quicken, Call Lightning at 8th level. I would use my action, my bonus action, and use. I think he also had fighter levels for a second there. Where I give him action surge, and I would just use all my channel divinities in that one turn and just max damage.
Oh my God.
They were so insane, but they were also this little like very childlike, autistic, asexual, adorable character who just was really into fight and stuff. Like he just loved it so much. It was like the only thing he focused on. It was like his hyper focus was battle, and he loved it.
That's
It
amazing.
was so great. It's such a fun character. I have art for it. I'll have to like drag it up and show you after this. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was such a fun character. Character I want to play, a concept. I want to play a normal person. Just a person who's like midlife crisis or on vacation or they are not a hero. Like I was talking to my friends, like maybe they'll be an artificer just because like they work for a tech company and they're on their vacation, so they just brought some of their work with them.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah, this is like the only trip I could book last second. Like what are we doing?
Do you have any advice for those wanting to try new systems?
I think just make sure it's a system that sounds interesting to you because some of the crunchier systems do take a big investment to learn.
Yeah.
Systems like Pathfinder, D&D, World of Darkness, some of those bigger systems have a lot of lore and stuff to them. So I think more than anything, it's finding a system that you think will tell the story you want to tell if you're a GM or a story that you would want to participate in. Because you can use most systems for whatever, but some are specifically made for certain stories. So I think finding that match and then finding the level of crunchiness for you is the best thing to look at when you're trying to find a system that works for you. Because you can go as light as a 1-page tabletop game where you roll 1 dice and you have like 2 stats and that's it, like Honey Heist.
Yeah.
Or you can go to Pathfinder where you're having plus like 18 modifiers at level 5 and doing a lot of math.
As someone who started out with D&D 3rd which is basically Pathfinder 1,
Yeah.
that is so fucking real. It's like I'm not a numbers person, and that is my first like real time playing D&D, and I'm like, how did I even get into
Yeah.
this fucking hobby?
This is my it's my hidden talent. I am one of the few math queers because I am an accountant in my day job.
Okay.
So like I will do the quick dice math in my head. Like when I GM, people love that because like they'll roll the dice and they're like saying the numbers out loud, the dice, and I add it up for them on
Yeah.
like command. I'm like, yeah, you did 80 something. They're like, wait, what? Yeah, I was like, yeah, you did 80. Yes, added it up. You're good. Just keep going.
I'm so bad because I'll look at numbers and sometimes it's like a slot machine where the numbers just spin and I'm like, I can't even recognize what I'm looking at. And then sometimes it's like, oh, that's 37. It's like, how the fuck did you do that? How does that
My
make
day
sense?
job, like the Excel sheets do most of it, but like you learn very quickly. You can do the quick math in your head as you go. It
Yeah.
makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah.
So
You just
I
train
can-
it up.
quick add-in and subtraction's not a skill issue for me anymore, which is very useful for my actual hobby.
All right. That's all I've got for you. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about tonight?
No, I think I plugged everything. Just keep an eye on the socials for November for the X-Men and the World of Darkness one shot. And then more details about the Candela game will come either end of the year or early next year. So,
Amazing. And where can people find you next?
what's today? Today's Thursday. So next thing will be episode 4 of my Cyborg game on Sunday. They are in the middle of a heist and they've reached the building and everything's gone bad. So we're in the good part now. This is where I get to fuck with them a lot.
Nice.
So
Who's a part of
definitely
that
tune
game?
into that. Huh?
Who's a part of that game?
Discount Bard, Anastasia Roland, Petra Skeleton or Petra Apocalypse. I don't know their handle off the top of my head. And then my friend Gus is in that game.
Nice.
That I told you about earlier.
And
So
that's on your channel, correct?
that is on my channel at 9 p.m. Central. But yeah, you can
on
just,
what day?
You could Sunday.
Sunday. Awesome.
But yeah, just keep an eye out on my threads primarily. I post all my promos there. I'll have that up there. I'll have details about the next podcast episode on Monday, which I believe is who is the next one I'm gonna post. My dates got all fucked up. Oh, it's Madaloon, Maddie.
Nice.
From Madaloon, who's running Dungeons and Demigods right now on their channel every
Awesome.
Thursday. So yeah.
And your card is posted up in the chat, so everyone go ahead
Yes.
and make sure you follow Paige everywhere she's at. Doing amazing
And
things.
we'll be at Patch U.
Yes.
Both of us. We're gonna have a drink at some point when we find each other at the Circle Bar.
Don't do this to me, Paige. I'm what's commonly referred to as an alcoholic, and I will lose my mind.
I have not been drinking those last 12 months because I knew Halloween and Pat's were gonna be bad. So I'm trying to be good until those 2 days. So the weekend after Halloween and Pat's are my 2 big end of the year drinking time with people and friends. So ready.
Oh, I'm so ready for it. All right. That's all I've got for you guys. You can catch us. You can catch me specifically on Sunday at Records of the Realm at 7 Central. I think that's the time that game starts. I've only been in it for like months on end now.
Such a mood.
Yeah. Monday we have Forging Fates, our Sober D&D campaigns in the Critical Role of Exandria, and then next week on Thursday I'm interviewing AJ Winters of Castleton, and we're gonna talk all about what the logistics are like for running 100 fucking person plus game.
Yeah, just tell AJ I love her randomly during the interview.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that a note there, just randomly.
Yeah,
Paige
just
says,
100%.
"Hey, I love you."
Yeah, Paige was here last week, and they love you, and you think you're a little bit crazy in a good way. It's fine.
In the best way. That's all I've got for you folks. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, follow New Age Geeks and follow my channel if you're not. There you go.
Yes.
We'll see you guys later.
Is there anyone you want us to raid?
Well, let's raid my buddy Art Light Court. He's on right now.
Okay.
Just all one word, Art Light Court.
Arc Light Court.
Yeah, ARCLIGHTCOURT.
COURT.
So he's doing.
Oh,
So he's
I
paying
don't
Need
see
for
him on
Speed
there.
or something. I will put it in chat.
Light Court. I'm not seeing it.
There you go. I threw it in chat.
I think
You
I
spell
spelled arc with a K because I'm a fucking idiot.
You are so fine. Yeah, look there and he's like top one on my friends list. I was like, yeah, let's just see Arc.
All right. That's all I've got, everyone. Hope you all have a great night, and remember, love you, geeks. Night.